If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and we are back with this second episode of War Machine, a part of our new Bad Boys series. And just quickly, before we get into today's episode, I want to shout out our newest global celebrity member on our Patreon, and that is Mr. Melvin Smith. And y'all, Melvin is from Collins, Mississippi. And interesting fact regarding Collins, Mississippi, in September of 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck Collins and really hammered the town. But being a smaller town and the fact that New Orleans was so decimated, the city of Collins was really overlooked during that disaster. So shout out to you, Melvin, and thanks so much for joining the global celebrity team on Patreon. Now, if you'd like to get in on all the fun on Patreon, look, bonus episodes, commercial-free early releases. We drop all kinds of files. I keep it freaking active on that Patreon. If you'd like to check it out, check us out at patreon.com/exposedpodcastfiles. It really helps us out and helps us bring you even more content. So let's get into this second part of War Machine. And the last time we left you, Jon Koppenhaver, also known as War Machine, had finally been captured in a hotel room in California, and he had been extradited to Las Vegas pending that trial for several charges, some 32 felonies in the near murder, if you will, of Christy Mac. And he pleaded not guilty to those charges due to the nature of the crimes. He was held without bail. And look, no surprise that he's going to plead not guilty. You always plead not guilty when you enter a plea into court because you want to be able to plea bargain with the prosecution. So on September 14th, 2014, which is a little over a month after that attack, Christy posted on Instagram a photo collage of how she looked 2 days 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks after the incident. She wrote in part, quote, "I still have a few more dental visits to go. I've had my eyes checked out and made aware that I'm very lucky to have my vision where it is, since the muscle is tethered by the fragments from the blowout fracture in my left eye. My multiple nose fractures will be fixed in the next couple of months. While they're fairly symmetrical, my nose is shifted on the inside and out, causing breathing issues. While my face is starting to look decent again from the swelling going down, it's still not my own. Cutting what was left of my hair off and losing 15 pounds is a lot when you're 5'1". Made me feel even further away from myself. It's hard to look in the mirror every day and see someone you do not know." And Christy wasn't the only one speaking out about the attack. War Machine wrote a jailhouse letter to a friend that read in part, "I can't believe this shit. The way she is lying is crazy, bro. I mean, just like 2 days earlier, she's telling me to hurry up and get her a ring and shit. How do you go from that to flat out lies to protect some other dude and her image? I don't know if they heard me come into the house or what, but dude straight up ambushed me as soon as I entered that bedroom. I can't get into all the details, but that shit was self-defense 100%. And that's typical for this guy, right? Psychopath. Everything is everybody else's fault. It's never his fault. He blames everybody but himself for beating the shit out of Christy Mac, because you notice in that quote right there, he never says anything about beating the shit out of Christy Mac. He only mentions beating the shit out of the guy. Dumbass. So we'll continue on. About a month later, on October 16th of 2014, 1 day before his scheduled preliminary hearing, get this, news breaks that War Machine had tried killing himself in jail. At about 9:30 p.m., an officer was walking by his cell when he saw War Machine sitting on the ground, and he had his feet up on the bunk bed. When the officer tried calling out to him, he was unresponsive. The officer unlocked the cell door, and he saw that War Machine had tied a piece of linen around his neck, which was then tied to the leg of his bed, and his face was purple. The officer cut the linen and removed it from his neck. War Machine was placed in a medical isolation cell on suicide watch. He had written a suicide note that read, in part, "To Christy, my one, I truly love you and plan on being with you forever. When I left you in May, it didn't take long to realize my mistake. I loved you more than freedom. When we reunited, I was 100% dedicated. I know you felt it. I guess it was too little, too late though, because something seemed different about you. It drove me crazy, but I knew that you still loved me because you kept telling me to get you the ring. Looking back on it, I guess you wanted security before you put all of your eggs in one basket again. That night, I was so excited to see you. Finding what I found that night was devastating to me, more than you will ever know. Not just the unfaithfulness, but the way you cared for him and protected him. Not a day goes by I don't wish that you weren't hurt that night. I hope you know that. If I could do it all over again, I'd have just laid down and let him beat me up. Maybe you still loved me enough to stop him and make him leave. I forgive you." I'm sorry, y'all, but I gotta stop. "I forgive you." He literally wrote that. Wow. I continue on. "Please forgive me. I love you." He addressed a few other people, and then he wrote, "I still don't understand how I got into this mess. I don't know why this had to happen. My life was going so well. I know I made mistakes in the past, but I had corrected that and was living life correctly. It's one thing to catch a case when you set out to commit a crime, but catching a case when you have nothing but good intentions in your heart is just so hard to accept. The severity of the charges makes it so much worse. They want to charge me with battery and DV. Fine, do it. But don't railroad me with BS fantasies like rape, attempted murder, kidnapping, and burglary. It's fucking ridiculous, and it's making it impossible for justice. I'm a good person with a huge heart, and everyone who knows me knows that, especially Christy. I don't know what has happened to her, but I'm not going to watch the woman I love go on the stand and tell painful lies about me. I don't know if her scumbag agent is making her do this for money, publicity, or if the DA is just pressuring her / scaring her, or what. And then after that was written, someone posted a tweet on behalf of War Machine from his account. And it said, a few very nice officers came up and spoke to me while I was on suicide watch. Made me realize a few things, mostly that I called it quits too early. Never in my life have I been a quitter. And I know that my perseverance is the main quality which makes me appealing to fans. And I'll be the first to say that I bitched out way too prematurely. I'm sorry to all my loved ones and supporters. This ordeal just has been hell on me. So that gives you a little, I guess, view into the mindset of War Machine while he was sitting in jail. So on Monday, March 6th of 2017, finally, the trial starts. And I'm going to play you some clips of Corey Thomas's testimony. And in this first one, Corey discusses his relationship with Christy Mac. How did they meet? Where do you take a porn star for her first date? And what was it like to kind of be thrust into that public eye by dating such a high profile person? Remember, Corey is just a regular guy, a business owner in Vegas and owns a graphic design company. So here's that clip.
I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things you guys did when you were dating. Did you guys ever go on any trips together?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you go?
We went down to San Diego for a weekend trip. We drove. Took my car and spent the weekend on Pacific Beach.
Okay. Do you recall, was that towards the end of June? Do you recall it?
Yeah, it was actually the second week we met. We met the 7th. We ended up down in San Diego the 14th, 15th. Weekend after.
Alrighty. And what did you guys do in San Diego?
Walked around and ate food. Went to the surfing spot in Belmont Park and, just hung out.
Hung out.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. When you first initially met Ms. McInday, did you know who she was?
No.
When was it that you kind of figured out who she was as far as it related to the public?
Probably that weekend in San Diego. A couple people came up and they asked, can I get an autograph with your girlfriend? And I'm like, well, I'm my girlfriend, but help yourself. Go talk to her. She's very nice.
All right. And so individuals that you didn't know would come up to you and ask if they could do various things, whether taking photographs or autographs. And
yeah, just walking around here and there.
All right. Was that kind of the first time then you realized she
had fans?
She had fans. That's a good way to put it. All right. After that trip to San Diego at the end of June, did you go on any other trips with Ms. McInday?
Yeah. We went to, she had an appearance in San Francisco the next month. That was around the 18th, 19th, 20th. So she left on the 17th, I believe, and then came back on Sunday.
Okay.
And we were in communication, and I said I'd be happy to come up and, hang out with you. And she said that'd be great. So I flew up on the 18th.
And where was that at?
San Francisco. I used to live in the Bay Area, so after San Diego, I moved to the Bay Area. Lived in San Francisco for 5 years, and went down to college in Monterey. So I know the area.
Okay. Was it similar type stuff as far as her interactions with the public? Same type of?
Yeah, she was a feature for a gentleman's club there. And so they were having their anniversaries, I think it was a 40 or 50 or something anniversary party, and she was the feature. So she had a huge fan base of people that came to see her. And when I got there on Saturday night, she was kind of overwhelmed with everything that was going on and didn't have enough people to help out. So I just kind of jumped on and helped her with the merchandise stuff on her table. And then the next day we went to Pier 39 and walked around, just kind of like touristy stuff.
All right. And you spent more or less just that weekend there in San Francisco?
Yeah, she left Sunday, I went to the airport, and then I stayed Sunday night and Monday with my friend that lives there, Sebastian. He was happy to have me for a night and hang out with him, and then I flew home the following day because our flights couldn't line up since I bought mine last minute.
Okay. When you returned home from San Francisco, were you guys in a dating relationship?
Yeah, well, while I was in San Francisco, I was going through my old phone because I saved the phone. I had an iPhone 5 at the time, so I didn't end up saving it. And I've got every text message from the day we met to the last thing we said to each other in the phone. I was looking through the dates. She would actually text me back while I was still in San Francisco on Sunday night, and she had gotten home, and she had referred to me as her boyfriend when she was talking to her pole instructor dancer about getting some supplements, glutamine and BCAAs, because she was really sore from working out so hard.
Okay. All right. When you returned home from San Francisco, describe your relationship for us.
It was nice. We just go do regular things. Have lunch. She'd come by my shop and we'd go eat a lot of food. I like to work out a lot. She didn't. So she went with me to the gym one time, but didn't work out. Just hung out,
Right. Okay.
Go to the movies and do simple things.
The normal dating stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Was there a period of time after the San Francisco trip where Miss Mack and Day went on a trip to Los Angeles?
Yeah. In fact, I wrote a note.
You can't look at that.
Oh, I can't?
Yeah, no, not at this time.
Yeah. It was after the San Francisco trip. She had gone down to LA. After she got back from San Francisco, she was a little sick the next couple of days. And so I remember the following weekend she said she had to go to LA. That was like the 25th, 26th of July. And she had texted me back that, I took a bunch of NyQuil and I had a hard time sleeping, but I managed. And so she resurfaced on the following Monday. She says, I'm back, from my trip out west.
At this point, everything is normal with these two, really, considering what she does for a living. But at some point, the relationship changes. Corey, he's head over heels for Christy at this point, but she doesn't seem to be reciprocating, at least in his mind. And he senses that something may be off or a little different. She just doesn't seem to be as into the relationship. So here he is discussing the fact that he noticed that Christy seemed to be distancing herself from him and his thoughts on that.
Did you ever follow her on any of her social media accounts?
Yeah, we had, Instagram. And so I'd see her Instagram. She'd see my Instagram.
Okay. All right. When you got that text from Ms. McIntyre upon her return, did you guys continue to date?
Yeah.
All right. You said that prior testimony that eventually something changed. Can you describe to us what kind of led up to that change?
Yeah, so when she got back from Los Angeles and she'd been, that week we had just kind of done regular things. I had a friend of mine coming in from San Diego with his girlfriend. So I was hanging out with him. And then she said that she had a girlfriend coming in from Arizona, which is her friend KT. And she was going to hang out with her that weekend. And so we had initially made plans to go to the movies on Friday or Saturday. And then she had said, well, let's not do Saturday, maybe we do Sunday. And I said, okay, well, how about we just go Monday because, my friend's here Sunday night and I like to spend time with him and his girlfriend. And she said, fine. And then they ended up leaving Sunday and I ended up working at my shop late on Sunday.
Okay.
So.
And how did your relationship change then at that point?
Well, she had been a little bit non-responsive over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So on Monday, I kind of checked in on her and social media and seen a few posts. And one was a post by a defendant, and he had mentioned something about them being together. And so I texted her that Monday, and I just said, hey, she's checking in with me. How are you doing? And I said, well, I'm good, but I'm just kind of sad, about what she said. Well, about you, what's going on and things. And, she's like, I know I haven't been giving you much attention lately. And I said, well, it's not really that. It's just I'm not sure what you want to do, if you want to be with someone else or be with me. And then the text message led into, just very simple, well, I fall into old habits easily. And I said, well, if you'd like to talk about it, you come over tonight and we can talk. It's easier than texting. And So she did. So she came over Monday night and we just talked.
During those text messages back and forth, did she said that she falls easily into bad habits?
Yeah.
Did she say anything else regarding that?
Yeah, she was just like, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what makes me happy, if I'm happy, you know.
Okay. So that Monday then, she came over to your place?
Right, Monday evening, after I got off, closed my door up, and she came by later about 8 or 9. And we just talked for a couple of hours, mostly me talking. Just, that's at that point you're going to have that conversation like, okay, well, what's your intention now? Like, we've been dating a couple months and it seems that you started to talk to or see your ex. Is that what you want? If it is, then okay, go do that. But if it's not, let me know. And so it ended up being me talking for a couple of hours. Okay. And I said, you go ahead and chime in anytime you want. And she just, you're doing fine. I'll talk. But she never really did. You're a very close, emotionally kind of person. So
okay. Prior to that conversation, did you kind of feel like she was pulling away from you, or how'd you feel at that time prior to this Monday?
Just that Friday, Saturday was kind of a little distant, and then come Monday, you ask if you have a question and you're in a relationship. Ask. That's the thing, right? So I did, and then I got a positive response, and it was like, well, we spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday doing things together, talking, and I could tell she felt at ease and comfortable that I was just willing to ask and talk about it.
Okay. Did she ever talk to you about her interest in sex at that time?
She had made a comment at some point, but she wasn't totally interested in sex. And I said, well, that's kind of, it makes sense if you're going to work on cars all day and you love cars. At some point, you're just not going to care so much about cars. If you're in the adult industry and that's all you're doing for work, you kind of get desensitized from things, and then, maybe you don't really care about that so much anymore. It's understandable, but I'm not sure when the actual conversation happened. It was over a period of, in those 2 months at some point,
Okay.
So,
fair enough.
Casual conversation.
They do what you do in relationships, and they discuss it. And in Corey's mind, they're trying to work it out. And now we are working up to the night of the incident. So the prosecution, they start showing a series of pictures, basically depicting the scene where this all went down in Christy Mack's house. And Corey, he's walking them through it. So here's that clip picking up when Christy and Corey laid down in bed that night and the attack as seen through the eyes of Corey Thomas.
Was anyone else or any other things in bed with you at that time?
She had 2 dogs, and they were in bed with us, and then we kind of shoved them to the floor.
Why is that?
Because they're big.
What type of dogs were they, if you can remember?
Yeah, she's got a pit bull mix.
Is the other dog a pit bull mix also?
Yeah. I don't remember the breed of the other dog, actually.
Fair enough. So they were in bed, and eventually you put them on the floor. Okay. Do you recall about what?
Yes.
Yes.
I apologize. I need to do a better job. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Do you recall what time it was that you fell asleep? Yeah.
Like 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
Did anything awake you during your sleep that night?
Yeah, I think it was Swayze kind of like did one of those softer, and just give her a wet sleep, and then just keep sleeping.
I'm assuming Swayze is one of the dogs' names?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 dogs, Patrick and Swayze.
There's 2 dogs. One is Patrick Swayze?
One's Patrick, one's Swayze.
Oh, okay. Does she have a dog named Cleopatra?
Cleo, yeah. Cleo.
Okay.
So the names are...
Has it been a while since you've seen...
Yeah, we haven't talked in over 2 years, so...
Okay. So she had 2 dogs. One of them was Patrick, and the other was Swayze, or was it...
Yeah, Cleo and Swayze.
Okay.
Cleo, Patrick.
Okay. All right.
See, the name of it is Cleopatra, but it's Patrick, like
a pit.
All right. Just got to stop.
Fair enough. You hear the dog kind of do a soft growl or something along those lines. And you told the dog to be quiet. Was it a shh?
Yeah, it's like shh, like that, like you clear your throat. Maybe they're gonna growl or bark. Who knows? But just concerned with trying to sleep. First time I'm sleeping in this room, the bed's hard as a rock, and like just trying to sleep.
Okay. What happened after that?
So then the door opened to the room, and the lights came on, and the defendant was standing there looking at me.
How much time passed from the dog soft growl to the time that the door opened, if you know?
I couldn't really say. I think because I didn't have a watch, but I would say maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Something of that nature.
Okay.
You know, it probably would have. The dog would probably heard him come in the front door.
You can't tell me what you think.
Oh yeah, I couldn't suppose on a dog. It's mine.
Did you believe? Did you were you able to fall back to sleep after you heard that growl before the door opened?
Well, yeah, I laid back. I just put my head back. You're kind of already asleep. You know, you just close your eyes.
Right. Okay. And then you said you heard the door open. Referring to Exhibit 19, is it this door here?
Yeah, that's the door.
And how was it, if you can describe for me, how did that door open?
Pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard the knob turn of something, and then the door was open. Before I realized there was a door open, the lights were on.
Okay. And you said that you saw the defendant there.
Right.
Okay. Is that individual present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Oh, sure. Purple shirt, war machine.
And will the record reflect identification of Mr. Koppenhaver?
Yes, it will.
So the lights went on at that time, and then you were able to see his face.
Yeah.
Describe to me the expression on his face.
A very surprised, big eye, very angry look, and could see him say the words, "What the fuck?" WTF, like really big.
Did he actually say those words?
Yeah.
What happens after he mouths those words to you?
So I thought to myself, wow, what's going to happen next? And I remember trying to put my hands onto the bed and kind of slide up towards the sitting position, but before I could get there, he had already jumped onto the bed from there to there, and he started pounding me in the face, just laying down, hitting my face.
Other than the what the F,
Yeah.
other than that expression to you, did he say anything else to you, or was it an immediate barrage?
No, an immediate barrage, yeah.
And where was he striking you?
In the face.
With what?
With his knuckles, closed fist.
Okay. Did he land any of those hits?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's going through your mind at this time?
Cover my face.
Okay.
And when he'd come in and started pounding, I heard Christy's voice just go away from me very fast. And so I wasn't sure if, maybe he had hit her or she just jumped out of bed. But then I was just receiving hits right to the face, probably 10, 15 good, fast, quick hits. And I started to cover my face as fast as possible and get my hands up. But they were still slipping in. The guy's a fighter, so it's like you can't cover everything. And I thought to myself, okay, I got to break him from hitting me. And I reached up, I grabbed him behind the neck with my right hand, and I pulled him down to flatten him out, so he had to put his hands out.
Okay.
And bit me in the face, so that didn't work out great. But
So you pulled him down towards you?
yeah, and it broke his hitting because he was coming down. So as he's coming down, then he bit me here in the cheek.
Okay.
And I could feel the bite, and once it registered I was getting bitten, then I put my hands back up to try and break him off of my face, and then he bit me in the arm as I was trying to push him up off of me.
So you sustained 2 bite wounds during this barrage of punches while you're on the bed?
Correct.
Do you recognize this photo?
That is me after the fight and cleaned up.
Okay. Do you see the bite wound on your face in this photo?
Yes.
Can you point to it for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Yeah. Right there. Oh, well.
All right. Is it right here or is it down this way?
That'd be your lower teeth and your upper teeth. In the
Oh, I see. So the upper
circle.
teeth are this way and the lower
Yep.
teeth are this way?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then you also said that you were bit on the arm. I would like to show you a photograph of that. I'll show you Exhibit 130. What are we looking at here?
My arm.
And I'm going to show you one other photo, a different angle of your arm. This is Exhibit 131. You recognize that?
Yeah.
And what is that?
That's my arm.
Okay. Do you see on either of those, either 130 or 131, do you see any bite marks on your arm?
Yeah.
Where are they at?
This whole area is a bite
Okay.
on that one and the previous one.
On the previous one, which would be Exhibit 130, where's the bite?
Yeah, right there.
So he bites you on the arm, and then what happens?
And then as I push him further away, I got my legs out and try to put him in the lower guard.
Okay, tell us what lower guard is.
That's a position where you wrap your legs around their legs in ways to try and control the movement so you can move around or get away or come in closer.
Okay. Do you have any training in defense?
I was an undefeated all-star wrestler through high school, and I trained with John Lewis at JSEC Jiu-Jitsu for 2.5, 3 years. I did his website. In exchange, he let me train for free and took a liking to me, so I'm grateful to him.
All right. So you had some training in it?
Basic, yeah.
Basic training.
Compared to that.
All right. It wasn't a profession?
No, it was not a profession.
All right. So you get him in this lower guard position, and then what happens?
And then he's still hitting me, slipping in a lot of hits. So I used my feet and my hands to push him away from me, and I stepped off to the left side of the bed. I tried to roll over to the side of the bed and get a foot onto the ground because I thought I need to get off my back on this bed and I need to stand up. And when I did, I had my back towards him. He had been pushed off to the side of the bed, and then he came lunging at me and immediately went for my neck from behind and put a choke around my neck.
Okay.
And when I felt the choke happen, I just kept going with it, and I spun around and I kicked myself another 180 degrees and pushed backwards on the bed into the wall that was behind it. I think that's where his head broke the drywall.
Okay. Let me show you a couple photos. Your Honor, this is again being agreed to admission, State's Exhibit 21.
Okay, so 21's admitted.
What do we look? Is this the Ms. Mack's bedroom still?
Yeah.
So you said you pushed him off to the right side and you rolled to the left side. So you're headed this way?
Yeah, I'm headed from that side of the bed. We got a foot down over here.
I'm sorry, you need to mark, otherwise we don't
So
know.
I was here. I moved this direction and put a foot down here. So my back is facing him. He came from this way, lunging at me and put a choke on me. So while his momentum's going that way, I thought, just go with it. And I pushed off of, there's a step right down here. I pushed off that step and thrust both of us into this wall here.
Okay. After you slammed into that wall, what happened?
Then I fell down this direction, and between this pony wall here and the doorway there's 2 stairs that go into her vanity bathroom area. Well, not familiar with the rooms, my first time really being there. I rolled left, rolled right, trying to roll to stand up.
It was difficult for you to get
I
out?
couldn't while I was trapped between 2 little walls and 2 stairs. And when he came down, he got a second choke in on me, and he got it deep and hard, and it was a good choke.
Okay. Just so we know the area that you're, where you were kind of stuck in. I want to show you Exhibit 44. Your Honor, this has been admitted.
What number?
44.
Okay, 44 is admitted, thank you.
Is this the area where you were kind of stuck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was that, Your Honor?
I'm clearing the screens.
Oh, thank you.
Nobody else did.
Thank you. All right, so you're stuck here, and he's got you in a good choke.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind at this time?
My head is about here, body's like this. He's choking me that way, and I'm looking up at the ceiling thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm not gonna die in Christy's bathroom. That's not how I'm going out. And I thought I got seconds, because he's got it in really deep. I'd been choked before in practice with, John Lewis's place. I know what it means. And you use everything you got, every piece of adrenaline you can muster drop your chin, slip it to the side, get a couple fingers in their way, just pass enough so you have an airway.
What were you feeling as he's choking you?
I was starting to see stars and go unconscious. I was on my way.
Okay. What did you do at that time?
I got enough in there to get air.
Got enough what?
Got enough fingers into an arm to get airway so you can breathe through here so that this comes off like that.
Your Honor, I guess the record should reflect that there's so right arm across the throat and then a open palm up in between the throat and the face.
I think that's a
Fair description, thank you.
Is that a fair description?
Yeah, you just drop your chin, turn it, and get your fingers in to work out a hand inside.
All right. Did you turn your chin to the left?
Yep.
Okay. Were you able to break that choke?
I was able to break it and breathe.
And then what happened?
And then he started to talk to me, and I started to try and move around a little bit, and I was still struggling and fighting to get to my knees while I was, and then he maintained a position on my back, trying to continue choking me while I had one arm in, and I was bridging on a hand and my knees, and kind of crawling and moving to the side to get away from that area, and back towards an open space to the bed area. And then we had both kind of, I'd run out of steam. I'm not a fighter and I don't train for it, so I was pretty tired. But get on all fours, and I've still got my hand up here trying to hold off a choke. And he's here now trying to talk to me and ask questions.
What's he saying?
Who the fuck are you? Who are you? This is my girl. And how did you guys meet? Now he started to just interrogate me, interrogate her. Previous to this, in the background, I just heard her screaming, John, stop, you're gonna kill him, John, you're gonna kill him, stop. And then now, as he's asking me questions, we're both really, tired. At least I'm sure I was. Then he's asking, how did you meet? And this is my girl, and he's saying, Christy, tell him that you're my girl. Tell him you love me. Tell him you told me that you wanted to marry me today. And she's in the background in a frantic voice. You're right, John. I told you I love you. I told you I'd marry you. I said those things today. I did. So
what's going through your mind then at this time?
Why am I here? What am I fighting for? I mean, the next thing is, logically, you're thinking, okay, you guys have some serious issues to work out. How do I get myself to walk out of the front door?
And so what did you do?
So then I thought to myself, well, I'm physically done. I think the only thing left here is to mentally try and change the table and see what's possible. And I just asked a simple question. I said, well, what do you want from me? Do you want to kill me? Or do you want me to walk out of here?
What was his response?
At first it was, not really a response, just a pause. And I kind of said it again, and then I said with a little more presumption, well, I have friends that will be looking for me, and it's true. I communicate to many people daily, and so I mentioned a couple of my good friends are detectives, and so I try to just put a little thought process into this, like, so look where we are now. What's the outcome from here? And then he moved into threatening me and telling me, well, my friends are Hell's Angels and my friends are Navy SEALs, and how do I know if I let you go you're not going to be a snitch?
How did you respond?
Well, my first inkling is I'm no snitch. And the second thing I thought was, it's pretty possible that I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, and this girl that's laying next to me may have to be my girlfriend. And I thought to myself, well, we just fought. I lost. What's there to talk about, And
did you tell him whether or not you would snitch?
Yeah, I said, well, I'm no snitch.
Okay.
So that's that. If we make an agreement to handle this and this is over, then that's what it is.
Okay.
But he threatened me again, and I said, well, you got really two options. You got to kill me, or you got to let me go. And I kind of tried to just change the table, and I could feel him kind of release a little bit.
So while this conversation is going on, where are you at?
I'm, if you show the bed, I could show you that previous picture.
Let me see if this one will show you. We haven't admitted this one yet. This is Exhibit 20. It's previously been admitted, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Does this show you, or is this, would you like the bigger photo?
Yeah, pretty accurate. I mean, I'm right here on 4. Head down where the stairs are there, where the little step is.
Okay.
And he's behind me, still trying to choke.
Okay. So he has, what arm is around your neck?
His arm?
Yeah, is it arms or hands or what's around your neck?
Yeah, he has an arm around my neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're having this conversation with him and trying to get him to release you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just remember all the blood coming down and seeing a pool of blood. So I'm thinking to myself, I got to make this quick because I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be conscious. I'm not sure if I'm going to pass out. If I pass out, do I wake up? Do I get killed while I'm out? And so,
Okay.
just try to make it a little speedy and move.
All right. So after this conversation, you said you kind of felt the release, the grip release, the choke.
Yeah. So I felt him kind of release, and I got to my feet and walked around the bed and picked up my things that were there, and then we looked at each other.
Who's we?
The defendant on the other side of the bed, he was still standing. He stood up right here. I went to this side, I stand up right here. I grabbed my things from this side of the bed. I looked at him, he looked at me, we nodded at each other. And I said, okay, and I walked out the door. I went up to the other room where we were last night, grabbed the rest of my stuff, and I walked right back out, down the stairs to the front door, and left.
How long do you feel like this, how long did this brawl or fight, this beating last?
I would say that incident was 10, 12 minutes.
Were you able to, did you land any punches on him?
No,
No. And why not?
because I was busy getting punched.
Okay. And the times of the chokes, were you able to punch him at that time? When he's choking you?
No, he's behind me.
So there you have it. He leaves, and what does he do after that? Immediately following this huge 12 to 14 minute fight with War Machine. Well, he discussed that here.
When you get inside your car, you said you called a couple friends.
Yeah.
Did you contact the police at that time?
So 2 of my friends are detectives.
Okay.
Neither of their phones answered.
Okay.
And I left a message for one, the other one didn't have a message. And then I called 2 of my closest friends. And then one picked up. It was on the route home.
Okay. And where was it that you headed?
I went back to my shop. Yeah, where I live, there's it's double guard gated with camera system, and I didn't think walking in naked, covered in blood would be the best idea. So I decided to go to my shop where there's no one there. It's locked up. I've got the key. Walked in the back door and went straight to the bathroom and decided to assess myself, look in the mirror, and see what's going on.
Okay. When you got to your business, is this the one on Spring Mountain and Valley View?
Yeah.
The Web Squad?
Correct.
Okay. When you got to that, your business there, was anyone waiting for you there?
No, there was no one there. It was locked up.
Before I get too far afield, I failed to ask you a question. When you were leaving Ms. Mack's residence, did you hear any screaming or yelling between either the defendant or Ms. Mack and Dave?
No.
Could you hear anything that made you believe that there was further violence going on in that house?
From hearing anything? No.
All right. What about from seeing anything at that time?
At that time, nothing had occurred between them. You know, when I had left and we nodded at each other, she was standing behind him on the stairs, just standing there, silent, looking at me and him.
All right. And I apologize for going back. I want to bring us back to the Web Squad. Sure. You're back to your business now. You're looking at your face. You have any of your injuries at the Web Squad. I want to show you a couple of these photos. Who took this photo?
I took that photo
And where did you take it at?
in the bathroom at my Web Squad office. That was upon me immediately arriving. I took off my shirt, and took a picture, 3 or 4 pictures of myself.
After you look at yourself, what do you do?
I decided I need to clean off the blood and see how bad it is underneath.
Okay. Do you clean yourself off?
Yeah, in the sink.
And what do you do after that?
Well, I'd gotten a call back from Ray, a friend of mine, and he had decided to come over to my business and where I was, and I cleaned my face, and then when he got in there, I kind of explained what had happened. He saw my face, and obviously it was just like, you know, couldn't believe it. So, you know, I explained what happened, and I explained, look, maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and, you know, it's over. Because I had gotten a text message back from her phone that said he had calmed down, and we're talking, and, you know, are you okay? Everything's okay. And so I was like, these two have some serious issues to work out. Because in my mind, I mean, I would never, you know, hitting a girl is not something that I would ever be able to understand doing. So, and in my mind,
What did you say?
hitting a girl.
Hitting.
Yeah, I was raised with three sisters, my mother, and that's not something that would process in my mind. So I thought 2 guys fought. That's the end of it, and you know, I'm spent. I'm sure he is, and move forward.
Okay.
So Corey gets back to his office, and he eventually calls the police. And the whole time he's kind of waiting on them, he's getting text from Christy. Well, supposedly Christy anyway. But, you know, he's reading into these texts, and the grammar is just off. And he can tell this ain't Christy texting me. It's Christy's phone. And whoever this is, which I'm quite sure he knew it was War Machine, is pretending that they're Christy, but this ain't Christy. Here he is discussing that in a phone call right in the middle of all this from War Machine himself.
Usually, whenever she says or replies to anything, it's spelled out correctly. This was not spelled out correctly. She'd correct my grammar constantly. You know, if I say your, she'd reply with you apostrophe R-E. It's just like a ongoing joke between us, you know. So when I saw that, I realized, yeah, I don't think this is her, so I asked her to call me.
Okay. And then I'll show you Exhibit 92 here. This continues on in that conversation. Are you okay? Yeah, are you? Then you asked her another question.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, are you? I've never seen that come back from her. She'll always spell things out. And I said, did he hurt you? She replies with this, meaning he left, no, yelled. And I've never received short answers like that from her before.
Okay.
Like one word. So I'm like, okay, well, let's settle this. If you're okay and he left, you call me so I can hear your voice that you're okay.
Did she ever call you that night? Did the conversation continue on momentarily after that?
Yeah.
And what was her response when you texted, or I guess the phone's response when you texted, please give me a call, I'd just like to hear that you are okay?
Yeah, then I get this back. Are you okay? Like, us talking is what caused this, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I'm like, no, this is not her. Okay. In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't think this is her. Okay, so.
Did you receive any phone calls at that time?
Yeah, so then I received a phone call from the defendant, from his phone, my phone. And at the time, I was standing in the middle of the web squad with 2 uniformed police officers and my 2 friends. And so I put him on speakerphone for all 4 of us, or 5 of us to listen to and speak with.
And tell me about that conversation.
He asks me if I'm okay, and I said, what do you mean I'm okay? Like, you just beat my face in. I'm trying to determine whether I need to go to the hospital or not. You know, and he's like, oh, this is effed up. You know, I don't think that your fault. I don't think you knew, but oh man, this is effed up. And I'm like, well, what do you want from me? Like, you want to know me? Do you want to meet me? Come over here. Because the officers were like, yeah, see if he'll come over here.
Are they whispering that to you, or are they saying it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I asked if he wanted to come over here and hung up.
Okay. Was that the last interaction you had with the defendant?
Correct.
Did the defendant ever come over to Web Squad?
No.
So Corey goes to the hospital, and he was pretty beaten up. Broken nose, dislocated shoulder, 2 very large gashes from bites to both his cheek and his arm. And he's released about 6 hours later, and it's the road to recovery for Corey. The defense, of course, they cross-examine Corey. And there is nothing really said worth repeating here, with the exception of the end of the questioning, when it was clear to me that they were trying to spin a narrative that Christy was really in love with War Machine and trying to break off her relationship with Corey. And they highlighted text exchange between the two just a few days before everything went down. Here's the clip, and then we'll talk about it.
Down here towards the bottom, it says that you feel bad today.
Yeah, that's right.
You go on to discuss that?
Yeah.
This is Exhibit 165, Your Honor. What are we looking at here?
My texts are in green, hers are in gray. And this is a conversation that we had on Sunday after War Machine had left her residence and on his way back to San Diego.
And you knew that based upon some of the social media that he had left?
Yeah. This was the next day, actually. This was Monday, so he left on Sunday.
Okay. Down here, there's a text message from Ms. McInday's phone. It says, "I know I haven't been giving you enough attention lately. I'm sorry." And then let me show you the next text. This is Exhibit 166. Is this your response?
Yeah, that's my response.
Would you read the green response for me, please?
I say, yeah, there's that, but I know why, so that's why I feel this way. It's out of my hands anyways. You have to do what makes you happy. If you care to talk, let me know. I'd rather see you face to face. Anyways, texting this sucks.
All right. And she responded to you. This is Exhibit 167. Mm-hmm. Would you read that response, and I'll note for you that it's somewhat out of order.
Yeah. I fall easily back into old habits. I don't know if I'm really happy. I don't know how to make myself really happy. I don't know if anyone else does either. I'm stuck in an eternal battle with what would be the right thing and what would make me...
Let me give you that further here. This is the next Exhibit 168.
2, 3, 4.
Right here. What would make
me happy? It's not fair to have you, but I love having you around and I enjoy your company so much. You're so sweet and kind to me. You're supportive and compassionate. The way you care for me is like something I haven't felt in a long time, but I can't give you 100% of myself, and I'm not even sure why, really.
And then did you respond to her after that? This is Exhibit 169.
Yeah.
And what is it that you told her? You don't necessarily have to read it, but kind of your summary of it.
It says exactly what it is. I feel you. This is better for us to do in person. There's still a lot you don't know about me, and probably time for us to have a real conversation about all the basics. I'd like to do that tonight, so it's not lingering over my head for another week. And then she decided she'd come over that night. So it was raining, and I told her to drive the Rover because out here it floods.
The picture here that they are painting is that she is playing Corey Thomas. They want her to appear in a very bad light. What they're trying to do is convince the jury that it was her manipulation of War Machine by having both these guys in her life and sending mixed signals to both. This is really all her fault. This is what happens when you play with men's emotions, right? That's what they're trying to convince that jury of. Well, I submit to you that Christy was in a position that millions of women catch themselves in every day. She was caught between a guy that, despite how terrible he was to her and for her at that point in her life, in the life she was living, it was the danger that was so blinding to her. The bad boy, right? That revved that engine, that turned her on. And then you have Corey, who on paper made all the sense in the world to her. He was good to her. Good for her. But she was 21 years old at the time, just at a different point in life. And although she knew he was what she needed, at this point, he just was not what she wanted, romantically anyway. All of that aside, it of course does not justify, make right, or make sense that she got the shit beat out of her by a man who, behind the scenes, had done this so many times before. Just disgusting. Disgusting to me that the defense would try to paint this picture. So next week, we continue on with this one. And you're going to hear from Christy herself, so get ready for that. Thank you so much to all of you for listening. And please consider sharing this one on your social. This kind of shit happens behind closed doors all the time. Unfortunately, and maybe someone you don't even realize is fighting this battle. And they'll hear this, and maybe they'll get the courage to rethink or leave that relationship. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please rate the podcast if you enjoyed it. Check out the Patreon for extras on this case and everything else we cover on Exposed. And until next time, for Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.